Welcome to Chamber Champions. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, Utah's voice for business. Each week, we take the opportunity to speak with leaders from business, government, education, and community service organizations who are making a difference in Utah. As a Chamber Champion, these individuals are recognized for their contributions and provided a forum to empower their vision and objectives. Today, we're joined with President Bruce Kusch, who's the president of LDS Business College. President, we're grateful to have you.
Happy to be here.
And thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
You know, in the midst of this coronavirus challenge, every organization is making adaptations and innovations. I think the necessity for change is no more true anywhere else than it is in the field of education. Of course, you've been leading innovation in education for a long time, and we'd love to talk to you about what you see happening at your college and maybe even broader in the higher education community.
Yeah, it's been a very interesting time. You know, with very little notice, we all had to pivot pretty quickly to remote instruction from a face-to-face model. And we've learned an awful lot about collaboration and innovation and the use of remote technology. We've become very well versed in Zoom meetings and all of those things, and our employees, our students have adapted very, very well to a modality that we could never have imagined a few months ago that would become so critical for us.
You mentioned both the students as well as staff and faculty. In some ways, maybe the students are more adept at making those changes.
Yeah.
Tell us about what the student body has been doing.
Well, so all of our instruction now is using remote technology. We're using Zoom for all of our remote instruction, and it's gone remarkably well. We started in March. We really only had a few days for our faculty and everybody else to prepare, and they've adapted well. The students seem to be very happy. We've surveyed them. We've surveyed our employees. And, you know, there's a few technical hiccups here and there, but for the most part, it's gone much, much better than we could have imagined. We have limited services on campus for students who need to come in. We're open a few hours a day. Our bookstore and our library and our advising center and things like that to accommodate students that need to come in and have a face-to-face meeting. You know, we're taking all the precautions that we've been asked to take. But overall, it really has been quite remarkable.
I think in my own experience, what I've observed, I should say, with my father, who's a university professor, who's 75 years old, and even he had to adapt. He's been teaching school for 50 years. He just had someone come set up, you know, the camera. He still goes into the classroom, but he's the only one there. It's just him and the camera.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he could teach without being in a classroom, but you've probably seen at a very individual level, people just figuring out how it works for them.
Yeah, some of our faculty do it from home. Some of our faculty come to campus and do it from their offices on campus. I'm not aware of anybody that's actually doing it in a classroom, but everybody's just sort of found their own way. And you know, in many cases, they've reported that the student interaction has actually improved because you can see all of your students, you can kind of zero in on a student and focus on them, and so I think student engagement has actually in some ways been improved as a result of this.
One of the things that I hear often from people is the pandemic, and especially in the early days when we were staying more at home, that it became a time of self-reflection and a time when people were sort of considering what they were learning through the whole process. Let me ask you what you personally learned through the process. What did you learn, not just about your organization, but about your own leadership?
Yeah, one of the things that I've thought about through this is that time to look inward is really important. And one of the things I've recognized as a leader is the value and the importance of communicating and leading with optimism and a positive outlook. We have held remote and virtual all-employee meetings. We've done it with our students. I've recorded a few very simple video messages. And I think that leading with a positive attitude, leading with assurance that everything is going to be okay, and not leaving people sort of in the dark to try to figure things out. We've wanted to give our employees and students an appropriate amount of tools and support for them to work through this. But communications and optimism, I think, are critical at a time like this.
I like what you said about communicating what's happening and communicating a vision of a message of optimism. I've observed in my own experience in leadership positions, I've had that one of the easiest, but also one of the worst mistakes you can make as a leader of an organization is assuming that everyone in the organization knows what's going on.
Right. It's an easy mistake to make, to think, well, I know, yes, therefore, if I know, everyone else must know too. And it just doesn't work that way. And people want assurance. They want guidance and answers to their questions in a time of extreme uncertainty.
This week, the governor is releasing Volume 4 of the Utah Leads Together plan. And in that plan, it talks about a new normal green. We've been talking about color-coded guidance for a long time, and the state moving from red to orange, now from orange to yellow, and at some time, hopefully in the near future, but whenever the time is right and the data tells us we can move to green. But there was some discussion about not sending the wrong message that green means everything's back to the way it was. And so we came up with this phrase, new normal green. What does new normal green mean for the higher ed community?
Well, I think new normal green means that we can come back to campus, but we come back to campus with caution. It won't be a return to pre-COVID-19 conditions immediately. I think we need to learn still about and practice good hygiene and make sure that we practice the appropriate levels of social distancing. And we're doing some things with our return to campus in the fall to have smaller class sizes, to use remote technology so students won't be on campus all of the time, and to give them options to continue to keep us safe. So, I think everyone is anxious to come back, and everyone is anxious for that personal interaction. And I think that while remote technology has helped us stay connected, I still think we feel a little isolated because we're not able to be in the same room with each other. And I think that will be a big plus as we do that, but we do it with caution and with care.
I think you're absolutely right, especially about that need and desire to come together. I've heard some organizations say, or leaders of organizations say, we'll never come together again, or we'll never work together. From now on, everyone in my business will always work remotely. And I think, what a shame.
Yeah, and fortunately, in the work that we do, we are student-facing. We are people-facing. We're involved with human interaction and personal interactions that are really vital. And you can only, as remarkable as our experience has been so far with remote learning, you can only do that, I think, effectively for so long. And then people really long for the that human touch and that human interaction. And I love the fact that that's what we do with our students.
Speaking of making plans for the future, I understand there's some exciting future plans and announcement at the LDS Business College. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, we're very excited about these changes. So on September 1st, our name changes from LDS Business College to Ensign College. We're very excited about that, and a new name brings new opportunities, and we hope some new awareness of what we do. In fall of 2021, we'll begin offering bachelor's degrees in business management, in information technology, and in communications. And with our stackable certificate model, students will have many, many options with certificate choices and things that we think will be a really powerful experience for our students. We're also very excited about developing more of our curriculum for online delivery, and much of this will be done in collaboration with the BYU Pathway program. But much of our curriculum will be put online to serve students not only in the United States, but around the world. And we're just very excited about all of these things. It's a new day at the college.
Well, thank you for all that you're doing, especially the important work of those degrees and those credentials. We recognize that that's an investment in the people of our state, in the future of our state, that will pay dividends as we go through this economic recovery. And congratulations as well on the name change. I live at the base of Ensign Peak, so I love that connection, not just to the history of our state, but connecting the history and our past to our future. So thank you, President Kusch.
My pleasure.
That. Great to have you.
My pleasure. Thanks, Derek.
Thank you for joining us on Chamber Champions, where we recognize and provide a platform to those who are contributing to Utah and our unrivaled quality of life. Chamber Champions is a production of the Salt Lake Chamber, Utah's voice for business.